Hello everybody, Hellcrex here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 367. Today we're going to be talking about the Oro Heavy Tank from the clans. This was produced, by, Clan Steel Viper, that's it. It's kind of an interesting tank, not quite the design specs that I would like to see, but it gets the job done for the most part. It has some good hitting power, but there are some slight problems with the design that I don't like. But hey, let's just delve into it. Alright, the Oro is a 60-ton vehicle. It comes in at 1,116 battle value. So, kind of spendy for a vehicle, but it is a 4.6 mover. All right, has a fusion reactor. All right, it has 15 heat sinks, which is bad. And let's see, it has 5.5 tons of ferrofibrous armor for 105 points of armor. Yeah. Now here's one of the things that I dislike about it. It has an ER medium laser. Alright, so what's the hate about that? We'll just see. And then it has a large pulse laser in the turret. The ER large medium laser was on the front slope, so I was pointing out the front. Then it has an LBX 20. Alright, I have no problem with the LBX 20 in the turret, and it carries 2 tons of ammunition. Alright, so it's operational with that LBX for roughly 10 turns. So you got a shot, you could have 1 ton of solid, 1 ton of cluster munitions. It sort of is their version of a anti-aircraft tank to some extent. So yeah, it's has some uses for that, but if you're facing off against other vehicles, that LBX cannon could really tear holes in things. And you got that large pulse laser that shoots out to 20. Okay, that helps you hit also. So you can do some good damage against like aerospace asset, VTOLs, hovercraft, other vehicles of any type of nature. You're most likely going to have a good shot at hitting them. Now, the problem I have with this design is it has that ER medium laser, which is 1 ton, and then you got to lock up 5 tons of heat sinks to be able to use it. So there's 6 tons wrapped up in a 1 ton weapon. That does, yes, it does 7 points damage, shoots out to 15. So it's like having a large laser from the inner sphere, but yeah, it's like if I was going to redesign this thing, I would tear off that ER medium laser and replace it with like a pair of Streak 4s and a ton of ammunition, or maybe 2 tons of ammunition. You could easily go that route, and then or preferably you could have 2 Streak 4s with a ton of ammunition sharing between them, and then give another ton to the LBX. So at least you have 15 turns of operation with that thing. All right, not that the vehicle probably lasts that long, but at least you have that ability to last that long. And I'd rather have more ammunition for the big gun than having everything wrapped up into 1 ER medium laser. And I'm happy with the large pulse laser. I don't have a problem with that. It's kind of handy to have on a vehicle, especially when you're typically going to have a semi not so great crew. Typically you're going to see a 4, sometimes you might see a 3 gunner in there, but then you're just raising the cost of the vehicle up, and sometimes it's not an option when you're playing a game. You're trying to shoehorn as much as you can into your lineup. So that's the one thing I dislike about the Oro, is that ER medium laser just has to go. And I could see maybe have it, like say you drop the large pulse laser for something else, and then have 2 ER medium lasers and then a bunch of like missiles or something of that nature to make up for the lack of the large pulse laser. So I'm still keeping something that shoots out at range. I could see that, but that's one of the detriments that I see with this design. All right. So basically, like I said, it's more of an anti-aircraft vehicle that can be used in multiple roles on the battlefield. So you can sit back with it, shoot out to 20 with it, and do some damage out at range. If something like an aerospace fighter comes anywhere near it, within 12, and you got the LBX 20 that can do, have a good shot at hitting something with the cluster munition. And then you could, being as you're shooting that direction, you have a good shot of doing, 1-point plinker, multiple chances of possible crits, that with you rolling those 2s and 12s. It can happen. I've crit to death a vehicle before, or a mech, just using LBX cannons. Alright, so that is that design. Now there's the HAG version. Okay, this is kind of an interesting one. They've replaced all the weapons, so they got rid of the ER medium laser and replaced it along with the LBX 20 with a HAG 30. Alright. So you got, and then 4 tons of ammunition. So this comes out at 1,492, so about 1,500 battle value, just with a basic vehicle crew on board. Now, the nice thing about the HAG is that it shoots out to 24, so you're basically doubling the range of the LBX 20. I don't have a problem with that. That's nice. You have more of a damage output, even though it's in the 5-point block, clusters. But still, yeah, you have a good shot of doing some good damage. And you still have the large pulse laser. So you got a HAG 30 and a large pulse laser on board. Okay. And the armor was also, so they took whatever extra tonnage they had left over and they just tossed it all into the armor. So now you have a heavily armored slug thrower with that hyper assault Gauss rifle, aka the HAG 30. So yeah, you definitely turn this into something that can just smack down things out at range. So you have something that's almost comparable in range to a ER large laser with doing more damage. So hey, what's not to like about that? It's like, hey, we can do this. And you got 16 rounds, so yeah, you can go for a long period of time. So the HAG is something that I'm not totally against. I don't mind it. It's something that if you throw it on the table, people are going to know it. And if you're facing off against like inner sphere assets, what is out there that's going to, if you are at the longer ranges, there's not many things that inner sphere, especially with bog standard pilots, they're going to be too much of a threat to this vehicle. Yeah, some shots are going to get through, that always happens, especially a slow-moving vehicle like this. But it can be a major threat on the battlefield, especially when you're in range of that large pulse laser and the HAG is throwing stuff downrange. And you might see just throw stuff downrange and see what sticks. And sometimes that sticks to your enemy in a hard way. Yeah. All right, so that's pretty much it when it comes to the Oro. It's worth trying out. Maybe some tweaks if you want to go that route, because the one tweak that we'd had that we designed was, let me bring it up here. It's the you still got the LBX 20. You got the large pulse laser, and you're carrying 2 Streak 4s, and then it has 6.5 tons of armor, so ferrofibrous armor, so you get up to 125. So yeah, it's got a little bit more armor on board for a 60-tonner, so it kind of has the ability to do things. Now, when the HAG hits on the tabletop, yeah, it's like I don't have a problem going that route either, and seeing what you can do with it. So I don't have a problem sitting there just blasting people away at longer ranges. Especially if you may even think about putting a better crew on board, you know, like make it a 3-4 or something of that nature, and doing some good work with it. Because, you know, if you got a 3-4 crew and you got the large pulse laser, yeah, you're going to be hitting with that on a regular basis, especially if you're facing off against clans, or not clans, but inner sphere. And then when you're in range of the hag, yeah, you're going to be smacking them in the face every once in a while, especially if you're picking targets that are easier to hit. You could a couple of these, or 3 or 4 of these on the battlefield, could really just scrape off most inner sphere vehicles and pretty quickly. They're not going to be like, oh, that, darn it, that's gone. Oh, and it's like every turn they're deleting something, you know. And then they're still going to have their mechs running around, being a problem. So what are they going to? You're going to be forcing the enemy to. It's like, do I go after the mechs or do I go after the vehicles? If you go after the vehicles, they can retreat back a bit, and then it's still being smacking you with their longer range weapons. That is kind of the style of fight that you're going to be seeing with clans. Makes total sense to me. All right, so that is the Oro. Worth checking out. Let's just say that. Give it a shot and see how it works on the table for you. All right, that's it. So I hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Elcrex out.